Two things were brought to my attention recently. The first thing is that my property is full of hedgehog duty. I found out this morning. And maybe it is raccoon duty too. I have no idea. I always thought that my dogs, and I got a lot of dogs, that they prevent my property from being visited or inhabited or invaded by some, raccoons, right? Or some badgers. We got a lot of badgers here. I like badgers, I like raccoons, I like hedgehogs, of course, but I do not particularly like my paths here being dutied on and stepping into some hedgehog, badger, or maybe raccoon duty. And the second thing that was brought to my attention was, and thanks to Dirty Photography Club, if you're watching this, thank you a lot for bringing this up. He said that the difference that I noticed in the sensors could be due to how these sensors are stacked. So the glass that is in front of the sensor is not exposed, right? The sensor, it's guarded by glass, and this glass could have some effects like anti-aliasing or low-pass filters. So I think, and he is right, I believe, because there is a difference between the A6700 and the Fuji X-T3. The Fuji X-T3 doesn't have AA filter, not AI filter, in front of the glass, or the Leicas don't. So the images look different with the same lens. I tested it out on the A6700 and the Fuji X-T3 with the same TD Artisan 25 f2 and 35 1.4, and the images looked different. I got a pop on the Fuji, and in theory these lenses should give some pop, but they didn't on the A6700, and so I was first debating the sensor size. It is something to do with that, and I still believe it does. And then, I was a little bit stuck, to say the least, but Dirty Photography Club brought this to my attention, and I will try to figure out whether this could be the case, because I got some old, I will show you later, I got some old cameras, like Agfa cameras from Germany from 1924 and 1935 or 1940. And I used to shoot with these cameras, wet plate film and medium format slide. And these simple lenses, I don't want to call them crappy, but they're so simple built, just 3 elements. And the size of the wet plate, it was so large, right? And it was a pain in the ass to shoot with these cameras because, first of all, it was very difficult to get these plates. Second, and they were expensive too. Secondly, who develops these? I had to do it myself. And then, to change the slide, you always have to take the camera, put into a very dark bag, and then blindly changing the slide out, putting a new slide in, and so on. The German word for this is Wechselsack, changing bag. But these images produced a very good amount of 3D pop. It was almost more three-dimensional than I was seeing it myself. And I believe this is due to the large format of the images, of the negative slide. And in combination, of course, with the lens. And there is no glass in front of that. So this could be something, what Dirty Photography Club said. There is nothing in front of this, and this glass that is missing there will not change the tonality. So the dimensionality of sensors that are not stacked with AA glass, for example, they should and they will give a better tonality and dimensionality. Maybe we're onto something there. I will test it out and will try to figure out what kind of glass they use. And as already was mentioned by Dirty Photography Club, it is not publicly available information. He's right, I looked it up. So it's difficult, but we see differences, and we definitely do. Leica produces different images than, for example, Sony cameras. And I always preferred the look of the Fuji cameras to the Sony cameras. But I like the older Sony cameras like the A7S. So the mystique continues. There is something to that. It's not just the glass, it's not just the elements. Right now we got the Samyang 35mm f1.82 with the highly functional focus ring. Boy, I really hate that thing, but the look is good. The look is even better, of course, on the A7S due to the pixel pitch, I believe. But it could as well be that it is due to the glass, to the stacking of the sensor, right? Because, yeah, it makes sense. Because almost the same pixel pitch on the Fuji X-T3 and on the A6700 will produce a different image with these same lenses. We will find out. I'm pretty confident that we will find the solution to that. And now I will show you the cameras that I meant. So, back inside to flee from the tremendous heat of 15 degrees here in Germany, or 16 maybe. I wanted to show you the cameras that I mentioned. And this is the Agfa Standard, I think from 1924. And it's a wet plate camera. Of course I damaged the little paper. No, oh, come on. No, it's a camera for wet plate, and it's a large format, you see. And with this camera, you needed a changing bag, as I said, and everything that you had to do was just roughly set your aperture. And this aperture was about, well, it was from 6.3 to 33, and then you set your distance in meters, like 1 meter, 2, 3, 5 meter, 9 meter, and so on. And then it should be in focus. It should be. And this was all. You see, you focus like that. That's it. And then you use this small lever to shoot. That's it. And when I used it, I was never sure whether I took a picture or not. And the same applies to this. This is a Balda, and it's almost the same. You got a prism here to, well, at least try to figure out what is in your picture, or you use this, right? Well, it worked, and I used it to shoot. And you can dial in 25ths of a second to 100th of a second, and your aperture is 6.3 to 32. It's the same. And these cameras produced a very good amount of 3D pop with the simple lens that is screwed on here. So it's 105 millimeters. Well, these are the cameras that, in my opinion, produced a pretty good amount, even more realistic than my own eye. Even, of course, it's not possible, but it was just a polemic description of that. So, if you have these cameras or tried these cameras out, I think you will agree that these cameras will produce a good amount of pop. This camera is indeed pretty versatile because you use 120 roll film. This one you need wet plate, and this is so expensive. I have no idea if it's even available anymore. I don't know. Let me know if you know something about this, and see you in the next one.